Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Learn with Lo. I'm super excited to wrap up our January series here. We have been going into the weeds on really talking about defining the two different worlds of healthcare that we have access to today, which has been really exciting. And I've gotten so much good feedback from you guys. I've had a lot of individuals who have reached out to me and said of how much they're enjoying this series and how much light bulb moments are really going off with this series of conversations as well too. And I've had a lot of individuals tell you how you've been sending some of these videos to your loved ones and to your friends who feel like they could use some of this information as well too, which just warms my heart from the inside out. That's exactly why I do these, is to spread the knowledge, spread the love to the masses. So if you're just joining us, or if this is your maybe your first ever episode of Learn with Lo, welcome. Or if it's an opportunity for you to really kind of just get your feet wet into the series of where we've been through the month of January, we've been really kicking off 2025 with a bang, okay? And so what I mean by that is throughout the month of January, we have really pulled the veil back to expose some of the truths that I think a lot of people aren't really clear about or aren't talking about in the world of healthcare today. I think it's very important that we all have very honest and clear expectations and explanations, honestly, of the different healthcare options that you have access to. And at this point, I think we all know someone, or maybe we have been that someone that has left a healthcare experience feeling frustrated, feeling dismissed, feeling like you're wanting something more from your overall healthcare experience than maybe just another conversation of let's just up your dose of this, or let's just put you on this pharmaceutical medication, or just ignoring some of the symptoms or brushing them off as a normal part of aging or a normal part of being a female. Like, none of that is true always in our experience. And so now more than ever, we understand that sometimes that experience from healthcare comes because we're using the wrong model. We're going in with the wrong expectations of exactly what healthcare system we're actually needing or what healthcare system we're actually seeking out. So if you haven't been with us for the month of January, let me just recap really quickly where we've been at, because today I want to bring the series full circle and really dig into the actual practitioner-based toolbox that I feel like anybody out there that is wanting to practice more root cause medicine or practice more in this functional space absolutely needs to have in their clinical skill set. So as a reminder, in the world of healthcare today, sometimes people try to overcomplicate it, but really what we're looking at is a series of two different healthcare worlds, two different healthcare models. These two different healthcare models are not in competition with each other. They are actually very different. They're used in strategic situations for certain types of people in certain types of health and wellness-based goals, okay? So we have the first healthcare model, which is more of the conventional healthcare model that you might hear it called. And that the sole purpose of the conventional healthcare model is to move somebody from dying to surviving. The conventional Medicare model, with more of our current medical schools, our, classic specialists, your gastroenterologists, your enterologists, your endocrinologists, your gynecologists, right? All of these different subspecialties are there, and they have had their medical training in triage-based situations. Their goal is to stop the bleeding, and their goal is to make sure that you are not dying, but you are simply surviving, okay? So the toolbox, the diagnostic toolbox that they're going to use, pharmaceutical medications, different scopes, different scans, things that are going to help them identify the big and scary stuff. Or if they are going to give, which we talked about last week, if they are going to give some nutritional information, it is going to solely be based off of like diagnostic models, right? Stop the bleeding. So they might have more Band-Aid kind of solutions, as even when it comes to nutrition. You're going to hear from the conventional medicine model of like, calories in, calories out, right? Like a Band-Aid solution. They're not going to ask why you're struggling with your weight. They are just going to straight up be like, hey, whatever you're eating, take it and cut it in half. It's like, that's not a root cause solution. Like, what? but no, you don't even know what I'm eating, right? So that is very much a conventional medicine mindset. It's a triage situation. It's a stop the bleeding. It's a how can I whip out more of a Band-Aid solution and make sure that you leave my office surviving. If you leave their office surviving, they have won, right? That is like what they have been trained to do from an overall healthcare experience. Sometimes people feel that model leaves them something to be desired, okay? And normally that's because we are trying to use the conventional medicine system for chronic problems. They are not designed to treat chronic problems. They're treating emergent and acute care kind of situations. Whereas if you're looking at like, well, yeah, I'm surviving, but like I'm fatigued, I'm bloated, I have heavy menstrual cycles or irregular menstrual cycles, or I'm struggling getting pregnant, I have no libido, I can't sleep, my skin is a problem, like all of those types of things, I'm like, yeah, now you're looking at a completely different model because now you're wanting to move from surviving to thriving. That is more of a functional or alternative medicine model where you're probably in the situation where you're like, I'm tired of just getting pills thrown at me and these like Band-Aid solutions. Like I want someone to tell me why. Why am I experiencing gut issues? Why am I experiencing chronic fatigue? Why am I experiencing autoimmune disease, right? And you're looking for more of those root cause answers, which means that our diagnostic toolbox is going to come with those types of things. We're going to be talking about when you eat, what you eat, how you eat. We're going to be talking about how you sleep, how much water you drink, your sense of community, your sense of love and acceptance, self-worth, your boundaries that you set up, stress, mind, body medicine, right? It's like that is more of a functional approach where we're going to dig in and actually ask why. So our tools are going to be coming from specific nutritional therapies, lifestyle interventions, microbiome restoration, toxin burden. We're going to be talking about nervous system regulation. Like it's a whole different conversation and a whole different feel over in functional medicine than it does conventional medicine. And somebody that has had an experience with both can probably tell you that the conversations and the office visits or the clinical side of the medicine may feel wildly different, and it should, because we are treating and serving two entirely different populations of people, okay? So don't let anybody try and convince you out there of like one model is good and one model is bad. They are not good or bad. They are not competing with each other. And in fact, there should be a collaborative opportunity, because if a conventional practitioner is like, wow, you're not dying, you actually are surviving, but you're just not thriving, that conventional practitioner should then refer you to more of your functional and alternative medicine to be like, hey, this is actually what you really need. You need someone to help dig into your nutritional patterns, your lifestyle strategies, your supplementation, utilizing things like nutraceutical supplements. Like that's where the referral really should happen, because the referral happens both ways as well too, right? Maybe we get some questionable lab results back from a functional medicine standpoint, and I want you to go see a gastroenterologist just to get things checked out, right? It's like the referrals happen both directions because there should be collaboration. It's not competition. But more often than not, what I'm seeing is a lot of people getting frustrated because you're using the wrong model. It's not your practitioner's fault. They were trained in a specific system. They only have a certain set of diagnostic tools. And so you're trying to belabor and you continue to use that same model when that's not what you're looking for. And you get frustrated thinking like, oh, I just need to find a different practitioner. It's like, no, you don't need to find a different practitioner. You need to find a whole different model of healthcare because you keep trying to belabor the same model. Okay. So don't get frustrated. Just start to understand. You're like, oh, that's why I haven't been able to seek the help that I've been looking for. It was because I'm still trying to use conventional medicine practitioners that have been trained in conventional medicine solutions who have a conventional medicine mindset. It's like, yeah. So all you're going to get is that same outcome. And then you're going to feel frustrated, dismissed, ignored when they can't talk to you about your supplements and nutraceuticals and lifestyle and nutrition and how to use food as medicine. Like they don't know how to do that. So look for a different model. Okay. So all of that to be said, if you missed any of those previous 3 now episodes of the series of January, where we've really been exposing the truth behind this, the pros and the cons, my hope is that you as a patient feel more educated, more inspired, more confident to actually seek out the right system for you. I can't tell you exactly what that system is. I can just educate you and say, like, this is what you're going to get over here. And if that's not what you're looking for, then don't go there. If you're not looking for another prescription to add to your routine, then don't go to conventional medicine, because that's their toolbox, right? And then you get frustrated when you leave and they're like, all they did is recommend another prescription. I'm like, yes, that's what they're trained in. That's what they know. So don't feel, like I said, dismissed by that. I want you to be able to kick off 2025 actually having an honest conversation and someone telling you the truth of the landscape right now, so that you still feel the freedom and the autonomy to choose. And I do feel like, though, based off the trajectory of what I'm seeing in the healthcare field, more often than not, individuals are actually, what they're actually seeking, they just don't know it, is a provider to talk to them more on a functional level. They're like, I want someone to look at my labs and actually talk to me about, like, how is this all connected together? What is the root cause? What is the why behind my symptoms? I want to leave my healthcare provider's office with some recommendations in terms of what should I change from a nutrition aspect. I want some recommendations of what should I adjust from a lifestyle standpoint. I want some suggestions on what's the right supplementation strategy for me. Like, if those are the types of conversations you're hoping to get, you're not going to get that in a conventional medicine office. You can search and search and search for different practitioners, but that's not what you're going to find, because they're just not trained that way, right? So more often than not, a lot of people are looking for more of a functional medicine feel. They just don't know where to find it, because they're continuing to search in the conventional medicine insurance-based model for it, and you're just not going to find it. Okay. So don't, like, make yourself crazy looking for a needle in a haystack that you probably won't find. That's okay. Just switch your mindset and start searching more in a functional model if that's what you're looking for. I do feel like the landscape is definitely going this direction. And so to me, we need more of those like-minded practitioners more than ever to be able to keep up with demand and to be able to help people in this more meaningful root cause way. So today, I want to speak to all my fellow practitioners out there. I'm starting to do, like I said, a lot more mentorship opportunities with my practitioners. For those practitioners that are out there already doing mentorship with me, you know who you are. And I'm going to be doing more and more of that on a more open and public scale coming into 2025, which I'm really, really excited about. And so for all of my practitioners out there, I think our work is very needed. And especially if you're curious about getting into more of the functional medicine space or adding this side of medicine to your toolbox, what does that look like, right? As functional medicine practitioners, we are more on the cutting edge of personalized healthcare. I truly believe that. And maybe right now, maybe you're someone that's holding more of a conventional medicine role. Maybe you're a nurse. Maybe you're a mental health therapist. Maybe you're an NP or a PCP or an OBGYN, and you're starting to see the value of better patient outcomes with some of the integration of these functional medicine practices. Or maybe you are a provider that's kind of already dipping your toes into this holistic space. Maybe you're a chiropractor or an herbalist or an acupuncturist or a personal trainer or a massage therapist, right? And maybe you're starting to see the need to really expand your clinical skill set. So I see this very often where, like, sometimes the conventional medicine side of training leads us into the functional side. Sometimes we're already in the functional side, but we know that we don't have a very well-developed toolbox. That's what I'm here for, to really start to grow this field of ours and to expand being part of what truly looks like surviving to thriving healthcare system. And also, what is the toolbox and the mastery of different skill sets that I feel is required of these types of practitioners to really transform the lives of our patients in a meaningful way. I don't want you to turn into another greenwashed pill for every ill practitioner out there, right? Because they're out there. You will find people, they will claim to be practicing this surviving to thriving medicine. I'm in the root cause medicine space, and all they know is Band-Aid medicine. They're still practicing a pill for every ill. They're just doing it with supplements. Or they're still practicing a Band-Aid medicine type of nutrition strategy. They're just doing it by giving you different elimination diets like low FODMAP diet. I'm like, you're still in the conventional medicine mindset. I don't care if you put a label on your door that says like, oh, I'm a functional medicine provider. If you're still using those Band-Aid mindsets, you are still very much in the conventional space. Doesn't matter, right? This is about the mindset, not the practitioner themselves. It's like, how are they practicing? What is their mindset? So that's what I really want to dive into today, is starting to talk about what does a holistic medicine provider really have in their toolbox? Not just like physical toolbox, but how does their mind work? What is their overall mastery and their skills and their mindset that they bring to each and every patient interaction if you really want to practice in this space? So I think this conversation is going to be very valuable, like I said, to any of my practitioners out there that are interested in expanding your clinical skill set, as well as any of my patients out there that are hunting for a functional medicine provider that's a great fit for them. You're going to start to see, you're like, oh yeah, I've had providers like that who claim to kind of be more functional minded, but all I did is I left their office with an elimination diet handout and 15 supplements. I'm like, that's not functional medicine, right? So sometimes it can be difficult to kind of discern that. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, patients and providers alike, of what I see is really required to be successful in this journey. So let's just dive right in. I divided this into 5 different parts. Number 1, I feel like we have to become a student of metabolic physiology. Okay, so somebody that is practicing in this space within their clinical toolbox, they should have a pretty strong understanding of overall physiology of the human body. I think in order to be effective, you're going to have to understand anatomy, endocrinology, physiology at its most fundamental levels to be able to speak to lab results, but also to be able to articulate with a patient exactly what is going on inside of them as well too. So I think it's very important that in your clinical skill set, if you don't feel like you have this already, maybe you didn't come from like a science-based background, and sometimes I actually send practitioners to get some more basic science learning first, because I think we have to come in with education and training that helps us be able to discuss topics like the anatomy of digestion and absorption. You have to be able to talk about that as a practitioner. You have to be able to talk about how the body creates energy from food. So you're going to have to get comfortable with terms like ATP or glycolysis or the Krebs cycle or mitochondria. You're going to have to understand the crosstalk between some of our endocrine hormones like the adrenal glands, thyroid function, sex hormones. You're going to have to be able to understand how do nutrients act as different cofactors in all of our metabolic reactions. It's like, oh, in order to create energy, you actually need vitamin B6. Wild. Oh, in order to actually move water into the cell, you need sodium and potassium. I think at a very root cause level, you're going to have to be able to understand anatomy and physiology. And I think that there's some practitioners that try to operate in this space and they're less effective because they don't understand some of the foundations and fundamentals of anatomy and physiology enough to be able to connect the body together, or enough to be able to relate to their patient what's exactly going on within their body as well too. So I don't think you have to, like I said, necessarily have a PhD, but you do need to understand basic anatomy, physiology, and endocrinology as well. I think it helps interpret labs much more effectively too. So number 1, in our holistic medicine practitioner toolbox is we have to become a student of metabolic physiology. Number 2, we absolutely need to hone in on our nutrition coaching skills. A lot of what you'll do with patients is going to revolve around coaching, like behavioral change, motivational interviewing, and being able to kind of move beyond your very basic nutritional advice. I can't tell you how many nutrition professionals I've sat in front of, and literally the takeaway of what I felt like they were talking to me about was they could either talk to me about calories or macros, or they could talk to me pretty much about eating more fruits and vegetables. That was it. I'm like, really? Like, that's it? Like, that is not at all what it actually looks like in the real world to coach somebody through a nutritional progression, okay? So you have to really have some time in practicing honing your nutrition coaching skills, moving beyond things like calories in, calories out. And it's like, can you talk about how to balance blood sugar? Can you talk about the importance of things like meal timing and circadian rhythm? Can you talk about the importance of addressing inflammation through food, or identifying patterns of different food reactions or food triggers? Can you address specific conditions or like tailored dietary protocols? Can you understand someone that needs to maybe adopt a gluten-free diet versus someone that doesn't? Can you work with someone that prefers, because of religious or ethical reasons, that prefers to be plant-based, but still get them to their health outcomes? This is like, there's so much more to nutrition coaching than either understanding calories, macros, and fruits and vegetables. And it's like, if that's the extent of which you can talk to somebody about nutrition, then we have a lot of work to do there. And that's okay. That's part of just honing your skill in this space. So if you feel like you're a provider that is looking to get more into this functional nutrition realm, that is definitely a skill set, both like science-based clinical skills, but also the art of understanding how to coach somebody through behavior change to make lasting impact as well. So you have to know how to actively listen, how to understand and respect their specific barriers to change in their life. You need to know, most importantly, and I did a whole Learn with Flo episode on this, you have to learn how to meet them where they're at right now and make small, measurable, and actionable changes to get them to where they want to be. You are not going to take them from where they're at right now to where they want to be overnight. That's not how it works, okay? So you have to just be able to really understand in a practical, a sustainable way of the science and the art of moving someone through dietary shifts, okay? So practitioner toolbox skill, number 1, we have to become a student of metabolic physiology. Number 2, we really have to hone in on our nutrition coaching skills and just the understanding of utilizing food as medicine beyond just calories in, calories out. All right, number 3, which is what a lot of people think about when they think about getting into this functional medicine space, is you do need to have some training on advanced functional testing. This is a unique aspect that a lot of people don't get access to in a conventional medicine model, is the availability as well as the interpretation of some of your more functional testing, whether that's gut microbiome testing, like a GI map test or a gut zoomer test, more advanced hormone balance tests like a Dutch panel, or more advanced toxin testing, whether that's through organic acid testing, urinary metabolite testing, food sensitivity testing, nutrient evals. There's a whole world of alternative testing that's not just blood work. Okay, that is what a lot of people get from a more conventional standpoint, or they might get like an invasive scope, right? Like an endoscopy or a colonoscopy where they're like going to go in and root around and look for the big stuff. But it's like none of those things tell us how the microbiome is working, right? So sometimes that conventional medicine toolbox runs out, and that's where our functional medicine toolbox has to pick up. And a lot of times when people are talking to me, they're like, why did nobody offer me this testing before? And I'm like, well, that's because this isn't really included ever in a conventional medicine understanding, mindset, or medical school at all. They don't learn about these types of tests at all. So number 3 in our practitioner training toolbox is you probably will have to elicit yourself some outside mentorship Hello, that is what I'm offering. Outside mentorship and training through some of these functional labs. How do I order them? How do I interpret them? How do I take the lab data and create treatment programs and protocols from them? And be able to work that into my repertoire of my clinical skill set. Okay. So number one, become a student of metabolic physiology. Number two, hone in on your nutrition coaching skills beyond understanding calories and macros. And number three, train in your advanced functional testing strategies. All right, last two. Number four is you have to be willing to adopt a total body approach. Kind of goes back to becoming a student of metabolic physiology, but I think even more so than that, if you're truly going to practice in this functional space, you have to understand that we have a physical body that we see, but within our physical body, you have multiple different bodies. You are a physical body, you're also an emotional body, you're also an energetic body, and you're also a spiritual body. Okay, so I talk about all four of those aspects of somebody's body at various times throughout their treatment plan. Okay, so sometimes what we're experiencing may not be a dysfunction of the physical body as much as it is the mental body coming in or the energetic body coming in because they don't know how to set boundaries. They have massive energy leaks in their life, right? And that is causing them physical body symptoms. So I'm not saying that you have to understand that right away, but you have to be willing to take a total body approach to your conversations with individuals. And I feel like those practitioners and providers that don't really do that aren't really understanding how to operate within more of that surviving to thriving space, or they just leave a lot of opportunity on the table for their patient. So you have to at least be able to, in some way, shape, or form, speak to all of those different bodies, or at least know how to refer out so that patients know that, like, hey, maybe it's outside of my container or my area of expertise, but this is something that we definitely want to talk about within the context of your treatment plan. We need to understand how dysfunction in one system, like the gut, probably impacts things like hormones, or how their stress is impacting their stomach acid and is creating food sensitivities, right? You have to be willing to understand a total body approach here, and not just of a systematic view. You're not just going to be a provider that gets to take the gut out of the body, tinker with it, and then put it right back into the same body. You're just practicing conventional medicine then. Right? I don't care if you're doing it using supplements and elimination diets. I'm like, you're still practicing conventional medicine because you're not helping that person understand, like, why did the gut become dysfunctional in the first place? And if I take the gut out and tinker with it, how am I making sure that I put it back into a completely different system so that it doesn't just regress back to where it came from? That's Band-Aid medicine at its finest, right? So you have to be able to really speak to, like, root cause system resolution versus just symptom suppression. I'm not just suppressing your symptom. I'm going to be thinking about combining multiple different modalities, like how are we caring for your physical body, but also your mental, your energetic body, and your spiritual body together. And last but not least, it goes without saying, I think number 5 in our practitioner training toolbox, it has to be walking our talk. Okay. So I think it's very important that we are practicing what we preach. If we aren't tending to our physical, energetic, emotional, and spiritual bodies outside of our work, it's going to show up in our practice. And it's going to be much harder for us to be able to share personal experience, as well as be able to speak to the value of what you want your patient to do if you have not been through the journey yourself. It doesn't mean you have to have experienced exactly the same symptoms as your patient, but to some degree, it's like, are you practicing the dietary interventions that you talk about? Have you practiced the lifestyle interventions that you talk about? Do you consistently care for your energy leaks and your mental body? Like, if you're not walking the talk, it's going to be really hard to build credibility, build rapport with your patients, and it just comes off really inauthentic because you're going to start to ask people to do things that you have never experienced, and you may not even understand, like, how difficult it is. So sometimes if you've actually experienced that, you can now very much make it an easier journey for them if you've experienced it yourself. So like, for example, part of my health journey, not that I wish it upon anybody, but part of my health journey has been a series of gut issues that forced me to adopt some pretty restrictive elimination diets at one point in time. Right? So since I have experienced what it's like to live dairy-free, I've experienced what it's like to live gluten-free, I've experienced what it's like to live egg-free because eggs were bothering me. I have experienced what it's like to be almond free, right? It's like I've experienced all of these things, so then I can speak to it better and I can provide specific examples, specific recipes, specific products, but then I can also give them hope. And I'm like, I was once in your shoes where I had to eliminate all of these foods, but now I've been able to heal my body and heal my gut, and now I can work all of these foods back in. And so they're like, wow, okay, so she gets it because she's been there, but she's also on the other side of it where it's not just like I'm removing all these foods forever. It's like, oh, this is just a short-term thing. She knows how I'm going to want to build this diversity back into my diet, but she's also giving me some tools in the meantime because she realizes like it's not always easy to have to live with certain food sensitivities, right? So if you can at least walk the talk, then it's going to be very hard to kind of build that overall credibility as well. So the 5 areas that I feel like are essential for any provider or practitioner looking to expand their clinical skill set and actually practice in this more surviving to thriving space. Number 1, you have to be a student of metabolic physiology. If you don't feel like you have that, let's seek that out first. Number 2, you have to hone in on your nutrition coaching skills. If all your training has been right now in calories or macros or eating more fruits and vegetables, we have a little bit of work to do, and that's okay. Number 3, we have to probably do some training, at least not maybe right up front, but eventually in some advanced functional testing strategies, as well as making sure that our mindset is ready to really take a total body approach to health and us be willing to walk ourselves through that experience at the same time. Okay. So 5 parts to that practitioner training toolbox that I hope was helpful for you to kind of hear either as a practitioner or even if you're a patient out there and you're looking for a provider that operates within this space. Those would be things that I would look for. Not that you can always see that from the jump, but those would be things that I would really start to hone in on is like, you know, what is kind of their educational background? What types of things do they work with patients? What is part of their clinical toolbox? What do they offer? What type of people do they tend to work with the most, right? It's okay to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of research because it's something that, like I said, you're looking in a whole different model of medicine for these types of conversations. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If you are a practitioner out there and you're looking to dig into some more functional medicine mentorship, I am starting to do more of that in 2025. So shoot me a DM and we can discuss what those options are going forward. But otherwise, hopefully even my patients out there enjoyed hearing this perspective as we really round out this starting January off with a bang with our surviving to thriving conversations around the 2 different models of healthcare. So enjoy, share this with loved ones and people you feel like it would be helpful for, and we'll see you guys next week for more.